I want to go live alone in a treehouse. Who's with me?
I'm Krista from Birmingham, Alabama. Let's talk about that.
Good Mythical Morning.
Today's episode is brought to you by Blue Microphones. The microphones that power our music and this show, Good Mythical Morning.
Well, they don't power it, they pick up the vocals and instrumentation.
That's power.
Thanks for joining us today. I like to think that what we do here enriches your life. And if it doesn't, don't tell me. I think a great movie is the one that you not only enjoy when you're watching it, but when you reflect upon it later, it gets better. Really? I hope that when people reflect upon the conversations that we engender here, that your thoughts about them continue to blossom. I'll be over here if you need me. You want to talk about something else?
You feel like leaving on a good note?
Yeah,
like
I feel
George
like
Costanza?
that's good for me to leave there.
So you thought that was good?
Yeah. What do you have for us?
There is a man, you may have heard about this. It's been in the news several times before because he's been doing this for quite some time, but it came back in the news recently because there's a book that's being written about him, actual biography. His name is David Suelo.
I think a good book is one that you enjoy when you... Never mind.
It's called The Man Who Quit Money. This is about a guy who 12 years ago...
Let me guess. He quit money.
He quit money in the year 2000. I was going to say 20-something. 2000. He took his only $30, that's all the money he had in his name, and he put it in a phone booth, and he said, I quit money. I do not want to be dependent on the financial system at all. And he went and he lived in a cave. He still lives there. A cave outside of Moab, Utah.
I'm going to look for that $30.
It's probably gone. It was in a phone booth 12 years ago.
Oh.
And he has sworn off money. Now,
I want that money.
He's living a very simple life. And he's basically saying, and we're not going to get into all the, philosophical
ins and outs
debate about this. But essentially, the guy says, you're a slave to money. You either have credit or you're in debt, but you're basically a slave to it, and he wanted no part of it, and he's off the grid now, and he only lives off of, like, scavenging, what he can get for free. He might go down into town and get something out of a dumpster. He might accept a gift from somebody. Is he homeless? It depends on what you mean by homeless. He does not have a home other than a cave on public land.
Well, that's a home. He lives in, he's a cave dweller.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway... what intrigues me about this guy isn't necessarily the fact that he has sworn off the financial system as we know it. It is the fact that he lives alone.
He's hermitized himself.
Because this is something that I have been personally fascinated with for a long time. Ever since I read My Side of the Mountain, my favorite book from childhood, which incidentally my son just finished reading recently.
The kid, he lives
in a tree.
He gives up money. Does he give up money?
I don't think it has anything to do with money. This is like a children's book.
Well, he doesn't live up in the tree, though. He lives in a hole. It's a hollowed out tree, right?
Yeah, and he just he figures out how to make things, and he lives off the land, and then he spends, I don't know how long he spends there, but I was always fascinated with it. And then years later, as an adult, I saw this documentary about this guy who goes up to Alaska. This one guy goes up to Alaska with some supplies, and he builds a cottage, and he spends like a year up there, completely isolated. And then he documents it and makes a film that's just like this 1960s film. They run it on PBS sometimes, and then it's just he just gives narration. There's no music or anything, just narration over the top of it. It's also fascinating. Now, I'm a married man with children. I'm not in a position, nor do I want to be in a position at this point in my life to go off and be a hermit, because now I have a family that I really enjoy spending time with.
There's nothing you need to run from here.
But my personality, and a lot of people think that I'm an extrovert. Not true, I'm an introvert. I love being alone, and I could totally see myself living in a cave in Utah. What about you, Link?
I'd like to see you do that too. Am I an introvert or an extrovert? I honestly, I don't know. It's kind of hard to pin me down. Don't pin me down.
I'm not trying to.
Sorry. Don't do the I'm dead on me conceptually. But do I have a proclivity to do that? I like the idea of being alone, but in practice, it never works out for me. Now, if I think about it, I could probably list on one hand, I probably have less than 5 instances where I've been alone more than one night. And I could probably list on two hands the times that I've been alone for 2 nights. Like if Christy would take the kids, to do something that for some reason I can't go because of work or whatever, I'll spend the night at home alone. But I mean, I lived with my family. I lived with my mom growing up. And then I went off to college and I had a roommate. And then right after college, I got married.
Yeah.
I was never a time that me, nor you, sir, have lived by yourself.
I briefly lived in a tree one summer as a child. Did I not tell you? This is before we knew each other.
In the bottom.
Yeah.
And there was a book written about you.
Yeah, it's called My Side of the Mountain.
Okay.
It's a popular children's book.
But if I go away, like I took a trip to Nashville by myself for a week, but I stayed with a friend. So at night I was sleeping on the floor in his bedroom or whatever. But during the day I was alone. I didn't know anybody in town. I went to the Country Music Hall of Fame Museum all by myself.
It's weird.
And I found myself being compelled to speak to people.
Yeah. Hey, I'm alone. I'm by myself for the day. Can I be your friend for a couple of minutes?
Well, I guess that's what I was communicating cerebrally.
Let's go look at the Lyle Lovett sculpture together.
But I found that it's not all it's cracked up to be. I can't go more than a few hours without, I just don't like, it's kind of scary. It's a scary thought.
Again,
you like the idea.
I have no plans to do this. Jesse, honey, I know you're watching this. You watch it like every third episode of Good Mythical Morning. So this is my wife I'm talking to, for those of you who don't know who I'm talking to. I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to go be alone.
For a year or whatever.
Right. Maybe, if I outlive you and I'm like 80 years old, I'll go live in a tree or something like that. But this is just all theoretical. I definitely just the makeup of my person. When I watched, one of my favorite movies is Castaway. Not because it's the most incredible movie ever or anything like that. Yeah. It's just kind of an achievement.
You're jealous. You want to be stranded on an island?
The scene where all of a sudden he transitions from having been there for a couple of days to where all of a sudden it cuts to the scene where he's fishing, and then it pulls back and it shows him and his skin has turned leathery brown, and his hair and his beard have just gotten crazy big.
Yeah.
When I see that, I wish that could be me. I would. You don't understand. When I see that, what I would love to do.
He went crazy. His best friend was a volleyball.
Yeah. I would love to just be somewhere isolated. In fact, the kind of thing I would like to live in is a treehouse. There's these people in Papua New Guinea, the Kororai people, who live in treehouses that are like hundreds of feet above the
But by
road.
yourself. You want to live in a treehouse hundreds of feet in the air, like this group of people.
Yes.
But why by yourself?
Because I want to grow my beard out as big as it possibly
You don't
could be.
have to be by yourself to grow your beard out.
But when you're by yourself and you just let go of what people think about you,
Okay.
Because my hair would get so big and then it would start.
You want to do it as a fashion
No, you're not letting me finish.
Well,
I want to
finish.
tell you everything that's going to happen when I go spend this time alone. My hair is going to get very big and then it's going to start bending down. It's going to be very bushy.
You're still talking about your hair.
Leaves and twigs in it, and then it's going to turn blonde because that's what happens when you spend a lot of time outside.
And what's your skin going to look like?
My skin is going to turn red. So I'll be like this red man with blonde hair, beard, like this. And then I'm going to just...
What are your teeth going to look like?
They're going to all fall out. I don't care about that.
What are you going to smell? I mean...
Hush! Now I'm getting to what I'm going to do. I'm going to think. If you sent me into a treehouse in Papua New Guinea by myself for 10 years, and I turned just this golden
We know
red
what you look like.
with big hair, and I thought... If I just had unfettered thinking in my brain with no external influences, I didn't have to come and talk to you and run ideas by you or anything. I just had to think. And I was isolated for a decade. When I came down from that treehouse and I came back to Western civilization, I would make a killing on the speaking circuit. I would just come back and I would just give seminars on all the things that I thought about.
So ironically, you're gonna do it for the fashion and for the money.
Well, after a decade, I'm tired of it. You know.
I mean, this guy's selling a book too. Is his friend, the author, making all the money?
Yeah, he doesn't.
I guess
he doesn't take money.
Well,
but can you imagine that? Like, we do everything that we're going to do.
You think you're going to come up with ideas in a treehouse?
Yeah.
So you think that, but it doesn't happen. I spent a few hours alone in a country music museum, and I didn't come up with anything.
You're in the wrong place, and you're not committed.
Well, it sounds like you want to be a temporary monk.
That could work.
Which is not. I think they give you a trial period of a year.
Like a vow of silence type?
But before they make you take a vow.
I'm going to talk to myself the whole time. And maybe like some inanimate object, whatever I can find in his
You think you're going to be smarter and have marketable thoughts when you come out of this.
I know I would.
You're going to be talking to a volleyball. I mean, you're going to be crazy.
No, they would be
I know I would be crazy.
He's back.
You're already crazy.
He's back, and look at him. He looks so different, and he smells different, and he's got these incredible ideas.
And his skin. Ask him about his skin and his teeth.
You're not taking me seriously.
Well, give me an idea that you'd have. I mean, do you have an example?
I have to go
like a framework of an idea?
No, I need unfettered thought.
If I would be an investor in this, letting you go away for a year. You have to kind of pitch me on, these are the type of problems I'm going to solve.
I need 10 years.
10 years? Okay, well, I need some assurances that you're going to come up with, cure for cancer, type situation.
No, I'm
what
not.
Are you gonna?
I'm not doing any kind of research. I'm
gonna
just thinking.
Develop a philosophy. It's not legitimate, man.
You just wait. Give me the opportunity.
What would you do? Do you have a proclivity towards isolation? And what do you do to apply that proclivity? In other words, would you like to be alone? And if so, why? I hope you have better reasons than this guy.
I think that people understand. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand where I'm coming from?
What you're saying is it would be cool. I would love to have a treehouse, but I would love to invite people over to experience it with. And I'm not saying that I want to have people over all the time.
Knights fighting a dragon.
Sir Charles, yonder sits large red dragon.
Yes, Sir Rhett. It looked like you as if you had gone away for 10 years.
I had the privilege of slaying the last dragon. I give you the honors of slaying this one.
No, but you have more practice to gain yet still. So, harden your skin like pork rinds and beat this dragon.
I insist that you take the first swipe. Look, he's just sitting there like a little... it's a youthful dragon.
He's waiting for you to... That's my way of saying that he hit us with fire and we died.
Oh.